Hi there, welcome to the ultimate tutorial where you learn to build a complete real estate website using React. In this step-by-step guide, you would learn to build and also display property listing, filter properties by location, type and price range, view detailed property information, and also build a form for users to book inspection. Here's what this project will cover. First, we'll start by creating a sleek navigation bar with a navigation logo, navigation links that works perfectly well, and also a call to action button. So we have the navigation links at the center. This is for the about page. If you click on the contact, it takes you to the contact page. So back to the home page. Next, we'll design a visually appealing area section with engaging text and also a background image that introduces the concept of the website. And then we're going to build an interactive filtering system that allows users to filter property based on location, property type, and price range. And also, we're going to learn to display properties in a clean and organized layout. So here are the list of properties that are currently being displayed on the home page. And then we're going to touch this home page up with this about section right here. So it's just highlighting what the company does. And then we're going to finish this with a functional footer section. Also, we're going to create a detailed page. If you click on the name, you're going to see a detailed page featuring a large property image, description, and also a very sleek form here for users to book inspection. So this is the detailed page. Let me go back to the home page. If I click on home, we're back to the home page. So if I click on this property right here, we're going to see the information about the property. We're seeing all of this information about this property and also the form for users to book inspection. Now let's test the filtering method out. So right here, I'm going to choose any location of my choice. Let's say I choose Canada as my location and I want a property that is a villa, and I click on search. The property that will be displayed here would match with the Canada and then the property type. Okay, let's say I want to choose an apartment that is in Canada and I click on search. This property would be displayed. Okay, so these are all the apartments that are in Canada for this particular website. Now let's say I'm choosing the UK. I click on search. The properties that will be displayed also is going to match with the location and the property type. Now for the price range, let's say I want to choose property between this price range in dollars and I click on search. The properties that will be displayed here are going to match. All of this property are in the UK and they are apartments and they are between this price range. So this advanced filtering method is working. So by the end of this tutorial, you would have a fully functional real estate website with modern design and also user-friendly features. So let's dive in. So you're going to open a code editor of your choice. I'll be using VS Code, and then you're going to navigate to your terminal. Click on New Terminal. So you're going to change directory to your desktop, and then I have a folder for you to protect. This is where I create all of my React code that I'm posting on YouTube. So you can just create a folder so that you can easily access your project. So I'm going to change directory to the folder, YouTube project, and now you're going to run this command. The name of the website is real estate. Make sure you're connected to the internet for this to work. And then you're going to change directory to the app you just created. Click enter, and then you're going to run this command, npm install. So while this is installing, we'll head back to our browser. Let's see every other thing that we need to install. We need icons, so we need to install React icon. And then here we have routes for the home page, we have routes for the about page, we have routes for the contacts page. So that means that we need to install React Routes add-on, but also we need to install React icons. So let's get that React icon for installing the npm package, and then we need React Router DOM. So when you're on this website, click on this installation code, copy it. So after successful installation, we're going to post this installation code to install React icon, and then we'll head back, get the installation code for React Router DOM as well. Back to our editor. Okay, React icon is still installing. So React Router DOM has been installed successfully. Click on this to install this now. Now that we have successfully installed React Router DOM, head back to your file, click on open folder, click on desktop that you change directory to, look for the folder where you created the project. I created mine in YouTube project, and then this is it here, real estate web. Select the folder, and it's going to open in VS Code. So the next step here is clean up. But before that, let's see if our React app is working. Navigate to terminal, click on new terminal, and then you're going to run this command, npm run dev. So here we're getting a link to view our app in the local browser. Click on the link. So let me cancel all of this. We've installed them already. Now, as you can see, our React app is working. Okay, so I'm just going to collapse this a little. Now we're going to start with cleanup. First off, we need to change the title of our project to real estate. Let's see, it has reflected here. The title has changed, so our React app is working. Then I'm going to close this. Then in our source folder, we have our app.css. We're going to delete this. Click on delete, move to recycle bin, and then the app.jsx as well. We're going to clean this up. REFC is a shortcut to create React snippets. So to use this shortcut, you need to have this extension. So if you have this extension here, EX7 React Redux Reactive extension, install it, then you can create React snippets. So I'm going to close this back, open our Explorer page. Now for our index.css as well, I'm going to do the same thing. But here for the entire folder, I'm going to set the margin to 0 and the padding to 0 as well. We're going to come back to this later. And we have all of this. Okay. First off, we need all of the images for the properties, right? So this is all the images that we're going to need for this entire project. I'm going to copy every single one of them. Then I'm going to paste it in the asset folder. Place this. Okay, so we have every single one of these images right here. And my source folder as well, I'm going to create a file and I'm going to name it data.jsx. So here we're going to have all of this. Let me reduce this so that we can have a larger screen. And I'm going to collapse this. So right here we have all of the images that we're going to use for this entire project. I have copied all of the images here in the asset folder, and as you can see, we're getting the images from the asset folder, the image name, and the kind of image it is. Here we have an array of objects for properties. So for each object, it represents a property. It starts with the ID, the name of the property, the price, the country, which is also the location, number of beds in the property, the description, the date, the image, and the property type. So we have about 18 properties here. So I said earlier that each object represents a property. So this is all of the details that we need for this project. Now we're going to start with the actual project. First off, I'm going to create a folder for components. And next thing is to create our context folder. And then I'm also going to create our pages folder. So in the component folder, we're going to have our navigation bar folder. And also we're going to have the hero section folder. Then we're going to have the property lists, or better still, estate lists. And also we're going to have the search filtering functionality. And then we're going to have the mission folder. Next, we're going to create our footer components. So for each of the folder in the component section, I'm going to create JSX and CSS file for each of them. So here, I'm going to create estate lists.jsx. I'll use REFC to create React snippets. Click on enter, and then we're going to have estate lists.css. So I'm going to pause this video to create the GSX and CSS file for the footer, hero, mission, navbar, and the search components. So I've created all of the GSX and CSS file for each of them. Now for our pages, we're going to create 4 folders. The first folder will be for our home page. The second folder would be for the estate details page, that is the property details. The third folder would be for the contact us page. So this is contact page, and the last folder would be for the about page. So for each of these folder, I'm going to create the GSX and CSS file for each of them. So here we're going to have about.gsx, RAFC, then we're going to have about the CSS as well. So I'm going to pause this video to do this as well. So I've created the GSX and CSS file for each and every one of them. So let me close all of this. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is to start with our navigation bar. So right here, I'm going to mount my nav components in my app.gsx because the navigation bar will be present in all pages, irrespective of the home page, the product details page. We want the navigation bar to be present. So I'm going to mount it in the app.gsx. And right here on top, I'm going to import it. Navbar from /components navbar/navbar. Okay, and right here, if I click on the browser, we're going to see our navigation bar. So I'm going to open my navbar.gsx and I'm going to start coding. So first, I'm going to create a div tag and I'm going to create a class name of navbar. And then we're going to have our nav logo. So for logo, we're using an h2 tag. And the name of the website, I'm just going to give it a dummy name, forever. Then we're going to have our nav links. In the links, we're going to have list title, and it's going to be 3 list items. The first one will be for home, the second will be about, and the third will be contacts. Then we're going to have for our call to action button, and the button that would show bookings. So this is what we have in our navigation. Now let's type it so I can look like this. So I'm going to import ./navbar.css into my GSX file. I'll copy this, open my navbar.css, and then I'm going to paste it. Display is going to be flex, justify content, space around, align items at the center with a padding of 1.5 rem. And then we have our nav links. Copy it, and then I'm going to paste it here. So for the nav links, display here will be flex with a gap of 1 rem. That is for the list. Now for the list items, I'm going to set the font size to 18 pixels. The font width will take 600, and the list style will be set to none. And we have the button. So for the button, margin left will take 1 rem. Padding for the width will be 0.5 rem, 0.8 I meant, and 2 rem for white. And the color will be set to white, that is the text color. The background color will be set to this color code. Border will be set to none, and then the border radius will take 5 pixels, while the cursor, I'm going to set this to pointer as well, and the font width of the text, I'm setting it to 600. So this is what we have now, looking all good and clear, and it's exactly like this. So we're done with the navigation bar, and I'm going to close this. Now the next thing we're going to do is to define the application route using our route component inside a route wrapper. So our navigation bar is going to have links that would lead us to different pages, right? So we're going to define the application routes using the route component. So first off, we'll open our main.css. I'm going to remove the strict mode here. I'll make this a comment. And our application, our entire application, we're going to wrap it around router from React Router down. I will paste up. So here we're going to import browser router as router. Okay, back to our app.jsx. Here as well, we'll start with routes from React Router down. Okay, let us import it as well. We're going to import routes from React Router down. Now we're going to define the routes for several pages. We're going to define for the home page, we're going to define for the about page, the contact page, and the route for viewing detail of a specific property. So now we'll start with routes. And then we'll have the paths / this is for the root route to the home page component. And then the elements here will be equal to home page. And right here, we're going to close this. Okay, so we're going to add this to routes as well. We're going to add the routes here. Okay, so right here, all we just did is, so when the user visits the home page element, it's going to take them to the home page component. Next route will be for our about page. So what we're going to do as well is routes, add the path. It's going to be / about. And for the elements, we're going to render our about component, our about page. The about has a page. So we're going to render the about page right here. I'm going to close this. And we're going to do the same thing. Import about from dot / pages / about / the about file. And the same thing goes for contact. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it here. So I'm going to change this to contacts, and the page here is going to be the contacts page. And we're going to copy this and paste it here. So we're going to select this and change this to contacts. So the next thing we're going to do now is to define the route for viewing detail of a specific home. So here we're going to have routes, and the path will be a little bit different. So path here / home / we're going to have a colon and an ID. Then we're going to mount this in equals estate details okay. So right here, the path is quite different from this, right? So for this part, the ID here is a dynamic segment that acts as a placeholder for the unique home ID. Okay, so this is dynamic. It's showing that different home, like a specific home, has a specific ID. So we're going to be displaying the detail of the property based on their ID. Next, we're going to import. So import estate details from pages / estate details / estate details. Okay, so we're done with defining the application routes. Then we can now start with our hero section. Right here we have the hero section. Now for the hero section here, I'm going to create a div tag, and I'm going to give it a class name of hero. In the hero container, I'm going to have an image tag. So for the image, it's going to be our background image. So I need to import the image. I'm going to give it a name, hero image, from our asset folder. assets slash, let's see the name of the image that we're using is this skyscraper one. So here I'm just going to give it a name, skyscraper -1 .jpg, since the image is in JPG format. And then right here, delete this, replace it with curly braces, arrow image. So this is the image right here. And then I'm going to have another div tag for the text that will be on top of the image. Hero text, the first one, we're going to have our h2, which is the header, and this is going to take this text right here. And we're going to add a break tag after property. Then we're going to have a p tag with this dummy text. Okay, so after this div for the text, we're going to have a call to action button. So button dot hero city, and it's going to say book an inspection. So now our hero section is going to be in our home page, right? So I'll navigate to the home page, open my home page.jsx, and I'm going to mount the hero component here. So here, hero, and I'm going to close this component. Now to this page, okay, for the encountered an error, let us inspect, click on console, reference error, home page is not defined at app.jsx. So we'll head back to our code in our app.jsx. Okay, we have the home page that is rendered here, but we did not define it anywhere here. So I'm going to import home page from pages slash homepage slash homepage.jsx, and our problem should be sorted. All right. So we have our arrow, our navigation bar, and this is the image of the home page and the text right here, and also the button. So we need to style it so that it's going to look like this. Okay, so let me close the home page. Back to the hero folder, open my hero.css. First off, I need to import ./hero.css. Now I'm going to copy hero back here and paste it here. The height, I'm going to set it to 60 px. The margin will take 5 pixel auto, and then with a padding inline of 50 pixels. Then we have the image. So I'm going to give the image a class name as well. Hero image. I'm going to copy this, head back to my hero.css, paste it here. The width of this image will take 75 rem. The height will take 35 rem. Position is going to be relative, and the border radius is going to be 20 pixels on all sides. Now for the hero text as well, I'm going to copy it and paste it right here. Hero text, position will be absolute. Margin top will take -510 pixels. Margin left will take 14 rem. I want the text in the center. We have an h2 tag, so hero text h2. The font size will take 52 pixels. Font size. And the margin bottom will take 15 pixels. We'll have a p tag as well. The font size will take 18 pixels. We have our CTA button. The margin top of this will take -300 pixels. And the position will be absolute as well. Margin left will take 32 rem. And the border radius will take 10 pixels on all sides. Padding will take 14 pixels, 16 pixels. And the background color will take this color pitch, while the border will be set to none, and the text column, that is color will be set to white. So if we check our browser, we can see that we have this store name hero section. Next thing on our list to build is this filtering features. So we're going to build the functionality that this filtering process is going to work with. So I'm going to close the hero. Then we're going to start with our search functionality. I'm just going to hold the advanced filtering. But before this, we need to write all of the logic that is going to hold filtering, initializing the state to search for the state for the search filter for country, property type, prices. We need to write the code that will undo the search functionality, the logic behind filtering the home array based on location, property type, and all of that. So here it's going to happen in the context. So I'm going to create a file in our context folder, and I'm going to name it home context. Oh, home context.gsx. So I'm going to rename this, and I'm going to add gsx to it. Okay. So what the context is, the home context is basically a context provider that holds and shares data related, like the property lists, the functionality that's going to undo all of the filtering process. So first, I'm going to start by importing the create context hook, the use states and use effects from React. So here, import React, comma, create context, use states, and then use effects. From React. And the next step is to create context. So exports, because we're going to be using the context in other components and pages, we're going to use exports. Export const home context equals create context. And then we're going to import the data, the home data, from our data right here, from the array of objects that we've created that is holding each of the home details. So here, next thing here is to import properties. So there's a typo error here. Properties from our data, the data file. Now, the next step we're going to do is to define a context provider function, and I'm going to name it own context provider, and it's going to wrap around the application that needs to access the home states, and then we're also going to export the context provider function. Okay, so here const home context provider will be equal to, open a bracket. Here we're going to pass in children. Then we're going to create an arrow function. Okay. So within the shop context provider, we'll return our shop context dot provider, and it's going to wrap around the children element. So right here, we're going to return home context dot provider. And it's going to wrap around the children. Okay. So here we're going to have values later on, and then we're also going to export this home context provider so that other components can have access to it. So here, export default home context provider. Okay. So after all of this, we've done the basics. This is the base of a context. The next step is to wrap our entire application, to wrap the home context around our entire application. So here, I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to have home context provider. I'm going to wrap my entire application. So I'm just going to format this so that it's going to look okay. So this looks readable. Now our entire application has been wrapped around the home context provider. Back to our home context provider, Let's get to work. First, we're going to initialize the state that is going to hold all available properties. So right here, I'm going to have consts, ohms. This is the state variable. And then we need the setter function, set ohms, will be equal to use state is properties that we've imported right here. Okay, so this state variable is holding all of this. So if I hover on this, you're going to see the ID name for each ohm. Next thing we're going to do now is to initialize the states. Before initializing states, we need to create a function to check if a variable is default that we're going to use in the filtering logic. Remember that what we're basically doing here is relating to the filtering logic. So we need to create a function to check if a value is default. So const is default will be equal to value. We'll pass in value. Then we're going to check is if value is equal to default. Okay, so we're going to use this in our filtering logic. Then the next thing we're going to do is to initialize the states for the search filter. In the search filter right here, let me open this again. We have the country, we have the property type, and we have the price range, right? So we're going to create state variable that would hold all of the search filter. So const country and the setter function as well to set it. Set country and it's going to be equal to use state. The use state is going to be default. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing for country. For property, const state variable for property and a setter function set property use states will be set to default as well. And the last one will be for the price, set price use state as well. And this is going to be set to default as well. Okay, so we're going to create a modern state variable that would hold the filtered houses based on the search criteria. So when the user filters the country, the property, and the prices, we need a variable that is going to hold the filtered houses, the filtered ohms to be precise. You know, this ohms here is for all of the properties that we have in our data.gsx here. Now, what we want to do now is to create another state variable that is going to hold the properties that matches with any of these filtered criteria. Okay, so I'm going to create a state variable const filtered houses and a setter function set filtered houses and the use state is going to be an empty array. Okay, so now that we're done with this, we need the values that will be used in other components. So here I'm going to pass in value. So the first one will be the ohms, right? And then the country, our setter function set country, also property, setter function for set property. Okay, this is set price, price, set property. Let's not forget that comma. I can click on enter. What else do we have here? Filtered houses as well. Filtered houses. Okay, so let me collapse this so that we can have a larger screen. Alright, now we need to create a function that is going to undo the search functionality. Okay, so I'm going to name the function undo search. And it's going to be equal to, first off, we're going to pass the selected price range into minimum and maximum price, because right here we have different price range, right? We have $0 to $200,000, $200,001 to 300,000, 300,001 to 400,000. So the minimum price is 0, the maximum here is 200,000, minimum here is 200,001, the maximum is 300,001, and so on and so forth. So we're going to pass the selected price range into minimum and maximum price, and then we're going to use the ternary operator to check if the prices is not default. We're going to split the number into two. Otherwise, we're going to set a wide range from 0 to infinity. So let me show you what I mean. Const minimum price, comma, maximum price will be equal to price. We want to check if it is not default. We're using a ternary operator. Okay. If the price is not default, then we want to split the price into two number price dot split. Okay. Dot map. We're going to map over the number. So what we just did here was to pass the selected price range into minimum and maximum price, and then we use the ternary operator to check if the price is not default, then we're splitting it into two numbers. Otherwise, we're setting a wide range from 0 to infinity. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is, okay, so before any other thing here, we're not done with our ternary operator. I said earlier that otherwise we're going to set a wide range from 0 to infinity. So right here, 0, comma, infinity. Okay. So now we're done with this logic here. Next thing we're going to do is to filter the home array based on the selected filter. So first off, we're going to create a variable that is going to hold all of this. New houses will be equal to homes dot filter. We're going to pass in house, create another function. The next step is to convert the house price to a number. So here, const house price will be equal to pass int. I believe we now have to convert string to number, house dot price. Okay, so we've converted the house price to number. Now we're going to be considering all possibilities. So there are several possibilities here. We're going to check if all the filter matches. That means if we select this, if the user select this, and if the user select this, we should be able to return list of houses that matches with it. So here, return house, just a comment if all filters match. We're going to use an if statement. If house dot country equals to country and house dot property equals property and house price is greater than or equal to the minimum price and house price is less than or equal to the maximum price, that is max price, then we want to return house. Okay, so this is the first possibility. Now we need to check the other possibility. If all filters are default, we need to return houses. So return if all filters are default. So if, open your brackets, is default, that's if the country is default, and is default for property, and is default. Okay, let me separate this for price. We're going to return house as well. Return house. Okay, now the next possibility that we need to check is we want to return house when only the country filter is selected. So if the user selects only country, we want to display list of properties that falls on that country filter. Okay, so next, let me add a comment. Return house where only the country filter is selected. Okay, so if we're going to use an if statement as well, if open your brackets is not is default for country and is default for property and is default for price. Okay, I want to return house dot country that is equal to that country. Okay, so here if country is not default and then property is default, price is default, we want to return houses that matches with the country. So we have other possibilities as well. We should return where property filter is selected. So here, return houses where property type filter is selected. Okay, so let me just copy this to make it faster and paste it. But instead of country here, we're going to have property, and instead of property here, we're going to have country, and here as well is going to be property. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing for price. So return houses where price type filter, or let's say price range filter is selected. I'm going to paste it here. Okay, so instead of country here, we're going to replace it with price, and then right here I'm just going to add country. Now for this return there will be a little tweak. Okay, so we're going to return house price that is greater than or equal to the minimum price, and house price that is less than or equal to the maximum price. Let me add space to this. So the next possibility that we're going to consider is to return houses where country and property type are selected, but price is default. So here, if is default, country and is default, property and is default, price. So what we're checking is to return houses where country and property types are selected, but the price is default. Okay, so yeah, this is going to be, it's not default country, it's not default property. but the price will be set to default. Okay, let me add a comment just in case you want to come back to the code. What we want to do here is to return houses where only country and property are selected while the price is default. Okay. Okay, so here we're going to return house dot country that is equal to country, and house dot property that is equal to property. Okay. Another possibility to consider is to return houses where country and price range are selected, but the property type is default. So let me just copy this from here to here. Let me write comments. Return houses where country and prices are selected while property is default. Okay, so only property is default in this case. So here, and this is not default. Okay, country is not default, price is not default, but property type is default. We're going to return house dot country that matches with the country selected, and house price that is greater than or equal to the minimum price, and house price house price that is less than or equal to the maximum price. Okay, so here what we're basically doing is to return houses where country and prices are selected while property is default. So here property is set to default, price is set to not default, and the country is set to not default. And then we're going to return houses dot country that matches with the selected country, house prices that is greater than the minimum price, greater than or equal to the minimum price, and house prices that is less than or equal to the maximum price. And the third possibility, so the possibility that we're going to consider is if the user selects property and price while country is default. So here, let me write a comment. Return houses where property and prices are selected while country is default. Again, with our if statements, open our brackets. If country is default, country, and there's too much space here, and property is not default, property, and it's not default price, we're going to return house dot property that matches with the selected property, and house price that is greater than or equal to the minimum price, and house price that is less than or equal to the maximum price. Okay. Another possibility is that if no criteria matches, we want to exclude house. So here, return false. if no criteria matches. Okay, return. So after checking all of these possibilities, the next thing we need to do is to update the filtered house states with the search results. The filtered house that we've defined here, we need to update it with the search result. So here, set filtered houses to new houses. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to do is to use effects hook to update filtered houses or display the latest houses by default. So here, use effects to create an arrow function. So first we're going to check if there are no filtered houses. We want to show the first 6 in our own page if there are no filtered houses. So if we use our if statement, if filtered houses dot length, we're going to check if it is equal to 0, then we're going to set filtered houses homes dot slice. We want to get the first 6 houses in the home. And here we're going to have our dependency array, and I'm going to pass homes and filtered houses right here. And then the next thing we need to do is to add the undo search function to the value in our home context that's provider or the comma. So now that we're done with all the possibilities, handling all the logic, writing the function that is going to undo the search, we need to get back to, let me close this. We need to open our search components. So right here in our search components, the first thing we're going to do is to extract all the variables, functions, set of functions that we're going to need. So here, consts, we're going to need country, set country. In short, we're going to need all of this, all the values here. So let me just come right here. Okay, except the filtered houses too. We're going to delete it. So we're going to need all of this. We don't need filtered houses here. We're going to need the homes, the country, set country, property, set price, price, set property, undo search. Okay, from our home context. So context, use context is going to be home context. And it has been imported right here. Okay. Next is to design the UI. After we've extracted all of what we're going to need, I'm going to create a div tag and I'm going to give it a class name of filter container. Now, filter container, we're going to have 3 sections. First is the location. The second will be for the property type. And the last will be for the price range. Now, for the location, we need another div tag. I'm going to give it a class name of filter item. And the filter item, we need an icon. So I just need this icon here for location. So I need the map marker icon. Because I've installed React icon, React is going to suggest list of icon that matches with this name. So I'm using this icon and I'm going to give it a class name of icon. I'll close this. Then I'm going to create another div tag, and in this div tag I'll have a p tag that is symbolizing that we need location, any location. Then we're going to use the select tag. Here we need the value So the value for this one is going to be country. Okay. Within this select tab, we need to have our options. So we're going to need 4 options. Option times 4. So the first value is going to be default value. The second value will be USA. That is the country, the location. This is going to be Canada. And the last one here is going to be UK. So the text that will represent the default is select your place. For USA, it's going to be the same text. For Canada, it's going to be the same thing. Ctrl Z, what is the issue? Okay, let me copy it again, and I'm going to paste it here. While for UK, it's going to be the same as well. Okay, so we're done with this. Now, we need to use the unchanged property so that when the user changes any of their option, the option is saved, and then the filtered houses that matches with whatever option our user selects will be displayed. So here, I'm going to use the unchanged method. If by any events, so we're using an event, if by any chance the user changes the selection, we want to set, here is for country, we're going to set country to e.target.value. Okay, so if by chance the user changes, that's what we're using unchange here, and then it should target the value. Oh, the unchanged should be in the select icon, not the option, sorry. So I'm going to cut this here and paste it here. All right, now this is for the first filter item. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it here for property. So we just need to change a little bit. The icon that I want here is the home icon to represent the property type. So I want this icon. Okay, let me just select it directly for home. Okay, now the P tab will change as well. It's not going to be location anymore, it's going to be property type. So here, property type. The value here is going to be property. Likewise here, will be set property. Right, we've already imported all of this here. Now, for the option, it's going to be select your place as well. For here, this is going to take an apartment for the property type. The second value of our option is going to be a villa, and the third is going to be a house. So I'm just going to copy this, Ctrl C, replace it here, copy it here, replace it here, copy this, and replace this here. I hope you have subscribed. If you have not subscribed and you're still watching, come on, please subscribe. Subscribe to my channel. Okay, now for price range, I'm going to paste it. Oh, I'm going to copy the filter item as well, and then I'll paste it here. Now, let's start. For the price, we're using a dollar sign. So, dollar icon. Okay, we're using this. And then here is going to be price range. Here is going to be price. And I'm going to change this to set price as well. The first option will be default. Now, for the second option, we're going to have values. So this is going to be 0 to 200,000. The third is going to be 200,001 to 300,000. Then here we're going to have 300,001 to 400,000. Okay, and I'm going to copy this as well to replace this right here. Copy this, replace it here, paste it, do the same thing here, copy, and then you paste it here. Okay, So we have our price range option. We have all of this here. After this filter item, the next thing is to get our search button. Okay. So here we need the search button. We're also going to have the search icon. So button, and it's going to take this icon, search icon. I'm going to give the button tag a class name of search button, and then an on click method, and we're going to pass the undo search function. So that after the user has filtered from here to here, filter property type, filter the price range, if they click on this search, it's going to undo the search, because right here we've written the code to undo the search after all possibilities have been considered. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, now that we're done with this, we need to see this in action. So head back. Our search functionality is going to be in our home page. So I'm going to mount it here. Search components in our home page. So if we view it on our browser, you can see it's just right here. Select, 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 and we have the search icon. So let's type it so that we can see it completely, and then right after it, we're going to display just six houses here in the home page, 6 property listed in the home page. So I'm going to close the home page, close my home context, open my search.css. But before styling, I need to import /search.css. So starting with our filter container, I'm going to copy this right here, paste it here. First off, position is going to be absolute. Display, reflex, align items at the center, gap for 1 rem. The width will take 80% of the entire screen. Background color will take this color code. Padding will take 1 rem. Border radius on all sides will be 8 pixels. Margin top will take 7 rem. And then we need the box shadow as well. So for the box shadow, 0, 4 pixels, 8 pixels with this color code 0, 0, 0, 0.1. So this is what we have now. And then margin left is going to be 7 rem. So that will be at the center. Let's see. Okay, we have it at the center. Now let's continue style. Back to our search. Filter item. For filter item, display will be flex. Align item center. Gap of 1 rem. Padding will take 0.5 rem for height, 1 rem for width. Border radius will take 8 pixels. Flex will be by 1. Okay, we have icon here. So for filter item icon, the color of the icon is going to take this color code. And the font size is going to take 1.5 rem. Then we have the select option here. So filter item select, border will be set to none, outline none, font size of any text 1 rem, the text color, this color code, background color will be transparent, the width will take 100%, and the margin top will take 5 pixels. We have a p tag as well. For the p tag, margin will be 0. The text color will be set to this color code as well. And the font width will be bold. And then we have the search button right here. So for this search button, I'm going to set the background color to this same color code. Color will be white, that is the icon color. Border will be none. Padding will take 0.8 rem for height, 1.5 rem for width. The border radius on all sides will take 8 pixels. Cursor here will be pointer, and the font size will take 1.2 rem. Display will take flex. Align the items at the center. Justify content center as well. So let's view this. Okay, so this is what we have. If you click on this, click on this, click on this, you can select wide range. You click on this set. For now, we're not seeing the action because we don't have any property listed. So let's go list some properties and then we're going to check it out. So I'm going to close the search here. Now, so our estate lists. The first thing we're going to do is to extract the filtered houses that we have in our own context. Okay. So posts, filtered houses. Let me just copy it. And then just copy from anywhere. So filtered houses here. Because use context would be home context. And it has been imported right here. Okay. Now, for our UI, first off, I'm going to create a div tag with a class name of property container. In the property container, we need the head. So here, another div tag for property head. So we have h2. Let me just have it as featured property. That makes more sense. Featured property. If you have not subscribed, please, what are you doing? Let me know. Please click on the subscribe button right now. Then we need our p tag. Okay. So we're going to add a break here. So after this property 8, we need the property wrapper where we're going to display the featured property. So here, dot property wrapper. Okay. Remember I said earlier in home context that here we're using use effects hook, right? We're checking if the filtered houses dot length is equal to 0. That means if the user does not filter anything, like if everything is set to default, we want to set our filtered houses. We want to display 6 properties from homes and we're storing it in filtered houses. Okay. So if the user does not select anything, let's say the person is just new to the website or everything is set to default, we're going to display just 6 properties. So right here, we've already extracted this right here. Now we're going to check. First, I like to check if the filtered houses is greater than 0, then we're going to display our UI, which is going to also display just 6 properties. And if it is not greater than 0, we want to display no houses available. Okay, so here we're going to have filtered houses dot length. We're going to use the ternary operator here. It's greater than 0. We're going to display UI within this. If it is not, we're going to display a p tag that is going to say no houses available. Then we're going to close this p tag. Okay. All right. So let's just. So right here we're checking if filtered houses is greater than 0. We want to display UI, right? So here We're going to display it. Div tag. I'm going to close this div, right? I should also give it a class name. I'm going to give it a class name of property card. So here we're having property cards. Okay. Now, in this property card container, we're going to map over the filtered houses. That is, if all the filters are set to default, we want to display 6, but we need to map over all the information so that we can now display. So here we're going to have another curly braces, which is going to take filtered houses dot map passing house arrow function. Open your bracket. Okay, I'll create another div tag here. Close this div. Within this div, we're going to have something, but before that, we need to give this a class name of property card. Okay, so this first div is for cards, all of the cards. Now this other one, after we've mapped over all the filtered houses, we want to display each card. So this does not have an S, this has an S. Okay, and also we need to pass the key, which is going to serve as the unique ID. So here key is going to be house.id for each individual property. Okay, and now in the card, for each card, we're going to have an image. So here, this is going to take house.image. After the image, we need the property details. So I'm going to create another div tag for property details. We need the country, so a p tag with the class name of house country. So here we're going to have curly braces house, or not capital letter, house dot country, right? And then we need the name. So an h3 tag will be used here for house dot name. Okay, you might be wondering why we're using house dot country, house dot name, house dot id. Right here in our data.dss, for each home, for each house, we have the id, the name, the price, the country, the bets, the description, the weight, the image, and the property. Okay, so to access all of this for each house, we need the names here. So back here, this is for name, house.name, and then another p tag for the house price, p.house price. So here we have house.price, which is going to be in dollars. So this is going to be dollars, house.price. And also, we need the property info, like the number of beds and the number of bits. So I'm going to create another div tag for property info. So I'll use 2 span tags. Oh, times 2. The first one is for the number of beds, for the number of bedroom, house.beds. And this will be for house.beds. It's an S. Okay, so this is what we have in the estate list. Now, the estate list is going to be in our home page, right? So I'm going to come here, open the home page, and I'm going to mount the estate list components in the home page. Okay, so back here we have all of these. We have to style it though, so it's looking all rough. So let's style and style. Back to our open our estate list.css in the code editor. But before styling, we need to import the /estate list .css. Back here. So first we're starting with the property container. Margin top we take 15 rem. Then we have this header. For property header, text align, the center. Then we have an H2 tag. We're going to set the font size to 40 pixels. Now we have the property wrapper, or better still, let's tell the property cards. Okay, for the property cards, display. Okay, there's an error. Let me copy it again. Display here will be grid template column. Repeat 3 cards. Gap will take 20 pixels. Now for each card, we're going to set the background color to white, border radius to 10 pixels, and then overflow will be hidden, box shadow 0.4 pixels, 8 pixels with this color code. And the max width will take 450 pixels. Text align left, and the border top right radius is going to take 100 pixels. And then we have the property image. So let me give this a class name of property image. I'm going to copy it here. So for the property image, the width will take 100% of the property card. We're going to set the height to 280 pixels. And then object fits will be cover, border top right radius will be set to 100 pixels, and the border bottom radius will be set to 100 pixels as well. And then we have the property detail. Padding will be set to 1 rem. We have an H3 tag in the property detail. So we're going to set the font size to 1.7 rem. Well, for the margin, we're going to set this to 0.9 rem and 0 as well. We have a P tag as well. We're going to set the margin to 0.3 rem and the font size will take 1.2 rem, and the color will take this color code. Now we have the house price. For the house price, we're going to set the font size to 20 pixels. Okay, the house price in property detail, 20 pixels, and the color will take this color code. And also we have this property info right here. I'm going to copy it and then paste it here. Display here will be flex. Justify contents, space between, margin top of 1 rem, and we have the span tag as well. So we're just going to set the font size to 0.9 rem, and the color, text color, will take this color code. So we're going to view our browser now. Now let's see, we have styled. Then we have the header, featured property. We have the text here, and we have 6 property listing. with their name, location, price, and other properties, right? So now let's test this filtering functionality that we built earlier. So now let's choose a location. Let's say I choose Canada as my location and I want to view the villas in Canada without selecting the price range. And I click on this icon, the property that matches with the location Canada and property type villa will be displayed. As you can see, the name and the location is displayed. Okay, so let's say we want to choose the same another property in the UK. There's an apartment with a price range of 200,000 at 1 to 300,000. If I click on search, we're going to get a list of property that matches with. So this is working perfectly well. Okay, so this is working. And now the next thing that we're going to work on is viewing property details. Okay, so that when the user clicks on the name of the property, they can view the a get better detail of the property. You can get the house, a larger image, and also property description. And then we're also going to build a form for users to fill to book an inspection. Okay, so let's get to this now. So I'm going to close this estate list and then close this folder as well. Now we want to write the details for the estate details, like for specific homes, we want to be able to view the details. But before that, in our estate list, we need to establish a link between the name of the property and then the details. Okay, so right here, I'm going to cut this and I'm going to use the link tag from React Router DOM. So we're selecting this link tag and I'm going to paste what I just cut back in between. Okay, and here this link will lead us to, I'll use a backtick slash home slash, we'll use a $sign, open your curly braces. We want to get the house dot id for each individual houses. So for specific house, we want to be able to link the name with the house and the id. And then we're going to pass the key, which is going to be house dot id as well. Okay, so if you click on the name, you're going to get the detail of the property. So let's try this out. As you can see, we have a change of color in the name because it's already a link. If I click on Jackson's house, it's going to lead us to, this is the ID to the second property in our array, and it's showing us estate details. We're here to put out together all the details that we want to see in the page. That's why we're just having this estate details. Okay, so let's click on another property right here. Let's see the 6th. You can see it here, the ID is 6, and this is the estate details here. So let's work on the actual details, the page itself. So the first step here is to import all the properties from the data folder, from the data file. So import properties from data. We're importing the property array, and then right here, first thing we're going to do is to extract the ID parameter from the URL using the use params hook. So this ID parameter here, we need to extract it from this URL using the use params hook. So the ID will be used to identify the specific house that is being viewed or that is being selected. So here we're going to have const ID will be equals to use params. Then use params has been imported from React Router DOM. And then the next thing we're going to do is to find the house in the properties array that matches the extracted ID. So let me show you. This is the properties array here. We need to find the house that matches with the ID that we have extracted. So we're going to use the find method to iterate through the array and return the first house object that satisfies the condition. Whereas the condition is to find the properties, to find house in the property array that matches the extracted ID. So here, const house will be equal to properties dot find house, create an arrow function, And then we're going to compare the ID from the URL, which we're also going to convert to. So now we're going to compare the ID from the URL that we've extracted, and we're going to convert it to an integer using parseInt. We're going to compare it with the ID of the current house object. So here, return house.id, which is the house ID that we've extracted from our URL. Want to compare it to convert this to an integer first. ParseInt ID. We're comparing it to the current house object. Okay, so this is going to be return. There's a typo error here. So let me explain this line of code again. The first thing we did was to extract the ID parameter from our URL using use params hook. And it is what we did was basically to identify the specific house that is being viewed. And then the next line, we are trying to find the house in the property array that matches the extracted ID. Then we're using the find method to iterate through the array and return the first object that satisfies the condition. So at this point, houses will either contain the house object that matches with the ID if it is found, or if it is undefined, no matching house will be found. Okay, so let's start our UI. First thing is to create a div type for property detail. So in the property details, we're going to have the property name and price. So I'm going to create a div type, and I'm just going to give prop name price. We're going to have an h2 tag for the property name. So here we're going to take house.name. Then we're going to have a p tag for the price, house.price. After the property name and price, we're going to have the location. So we're going to have an h3 tag with a class name of location, and it's going to take house.country. Then we're going to have an HR tag. Then we're going to have the features that come with the house, which is more like the service. So I'm just going to have a div tag with the class name of service. And here we're going to have 3 p tags. The first one is going to be for the beds, the bits. Then the last one is going to be for the property type. So the first one, I need an icon. We're going to use the bed icon. So here, the bed icon, and I'm going to give it a class name of icon. And then the text Ctrl Z is supposed to be a self-closing tag. Okay. And the text here is going to be house.beds. And the next one will be for the bits, number of bedrooms. So here we're going to need the bedroom icon. So if I enter base, React is going to suggest icons that matches with bits. So this is it right here. It's going to take the same class name with the bits. So I'm going to paste this, and I'm going to close this. Then we're going to have house.bits. Then we need the property type in the last p tag. So here I'm going to use this icon. It's going to take the same class name that I copied again. Close this. Then we're going to have house.property type, house.property. And then we're going to have another HR tag right here. After this, we're going to have our image. That is also going to take the class name of property image. So for the property image, we're going to have house.image as well, followed by an h2 tag, which is going to be for property description. So here I'm just going to type in property description. Then we're going to have our features. So I'm going to create a div tag with a class name of features, and we're going to have at least 4 features for each. So feature, we'll have a P tag for property type. And then we're going to have an H4 tag. Here we're going to have house dot property. So the next feature, so I'm just going to copy this. I said earlier that we're going to have 4 features. So the next feature here is going to be for the availability. So here, status, and for the H4 tag, this is available. Next feature is going to be for the year. So the next one here is going to be for year built. And the H4 tag, we're just going to enter a dummy year, random year. And the last feature, and then right here, we're going to have the property ID. And for the H4 tag, we're going to have a random number as well for the ID. You can assign any ID of your choice. This is just a random number. So after all of the features, we're going to have our HR tag as well. Then we're going to have the property description. So P tag with a description. I'm going to have 4 property descriptions. So it's just going to be house dot description. So I'm going to copy this and paste it 3 times. So we have the description here. So the next thing we're going to do is to create the form. So I'll create a div tag and I'm going to give it the class name of contact form. In the form, I'll start with a P tag and it's going to take this text. Please fill the form for property inspection. And then we're going to use the form tag to create the form. So in the form tag, first off, we need an H2 tag and it's going to say book and inspection. Inspection. There's a typo error there. Then I'll create a div tag. And this first div tag will have a label, and this label is going to be for the first name. So here we're going to have the full name. And then we're going to have another div tag for names. Then we're going to have 2 input fields. And the type is going to be text because we're taking text. So let me just copy this and paste it twice. So here, the placeholder. So the first one here is going to take first name. And the second one is going to take last name. And both of them are required. So here, required. This other one is required as well. So it's compulsory for the user to fill. So after the names, so after this div container for the names, we're going to have another div tag. And then we're having a label here. And it's going to be for email. So for the text, it's going to show email. That is compulsory. And then we're going to have our inputs. And the type is email. So the placeholder is going to show email address, or better still, example@email.com or gmail.com, whichever one pleases you. So after the email container, we need the message box itself. So in the message box, we're going to have our label for message. And here, we're going to have message. Then we're going to have the text area. The name is message. And the ID is message as well. And the placeholder is going to be hi. I'm interested in this property. Okay, so we have an issue. This is supposed to be double quotes because we're going to have a quote here. We're going to have So here I'm going to close this double quotes. Okay. And so after this, we're going to have our button. It's going to say submit. So this is it. Now we need to view our browser and see. So this is for the sixth home, right? This is the property name, this is the price, this is the location, number of bedrooms, number of beds, property type, we have the image, we have the description, the status of the house, the availability and all of that, property ID, and we have description as well. And then for this form to book an inspection as well. Now we just need to style it so that it's going to look exactly like this. So let's get to style. So now we're going to style. Let me close this. We're going to open the estate details, the CSS, but first we need to import dot forward slash estate details dot css into our GSX file, and then we're going to start styling. First, we're starting with the property details. The width we take 80% of our entire screen, and then the margin will be set to auto. Margin top we take 2 rem. Then we have the property name and price. So right here, display will be flex. Justify content, space between. We have an H2 tag and a P tag. So for the H2 tag, which is going to be the name, we're going to set the font size to 45 pixels. And the color, we take this color code. And then for the P tag, we're going to set the font size to 24 pixels. And the color, we take this color code as well. Then we have the location. So for property details, location, font size will take 24 pixels. And the margin top will take 10 pixels. The color will take this color code. And the margin bottom is going to take 15 pixels. Now we have this service here. And then the next thing we have is the service. So here I'm just going to have property details dot service. So for the service, display is going to be flex. Justify contents, space between, with a padding of 20 pixels. And in the service we have P tag. So for the P tag, the font size is going to be 18 pixels and the font width will be 600. Also we have icon here in the service. So for service and the icon, I'm going to set the font size to 20 pixels and margin right to be 5 pixels. Then we have the HR tag. So for property details, HR, I'm going to set the color to this color code. Next is the image. So let's copy the class name, paste it here. For the property image, the width will be 100 pixels, 1000 pixels, 100 pixels will be too small, 1000 pixels, and the height will be 500 pixels. For margin top, it's going to take 15 pixels. Then we have the description. So I'm going to give this a class name of property description. So let's copy this and paste it here. So for property description, let me copy it again. Ctrl Z. Okay. Property description back here. I'm going to set the margin top to 15 pixels and the font, the margin top at 15 pixels. We have the features as well. We'll copy this and paste it here. Margin top will be, we're going to set it to 2 rem. Display will be grid. Grid template columns. Repeat to 1 FR. Gap will be set to 2 rem, and the margin bottom will be set to 2 rem as well. And then we have for each feature, we have an H4 tag and a P tag. So for the feature, H4 tag, the margin top for this as well will be 5 pixels, and the font size will be 18 pixels. And for the P tag, the font size will be 16 pixels. And the color, text color, we'll take this color code. So after this, we have the contact form. So for the form, the match suites will be set to 800 pixels, and then we're going to add a padding of 20 pixels, border of 1 pixel solid, and this color code. And then we're going to add the border radius of 10 pixels and a box shadow of 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 10 pixels with this color code. And we're going to add a margin top of 4 rem. Okay. Then we have an H2 tag in the contact form. So here, H2 tag, we're going to set text align center, margin bottom will be 20 pixels. We also have a P tag, text align center as well, margin bottom of 20 pixels, and we color code. So after the P tag, we have the form itself. So let me just remove this. Okay, so we have the form, and we have div tags here in the form, right? So right here, I'm just going to have contact form, then the form tag, then we want to style the div tags. So margin bottom here, I'm going to set it to 15 pixels. We're starting with the names, right? So for the names, display would be flex. Then we have the label. So contact form label. Display will be block. Margin bottom will be 5 pixels, and the font weight will be bold. Then we have the input fields and the text area. Okay, so for contact form, the font type itself and the input tag, comma, we're going to style the contact form text area. The width, so here we're calculating 50% minus 25 pixels, and then we're going to set the padding to 10 pixels. We're going to set margin right to 10 pixels, margin bottom to 5 pixels, and the border 1 pixel solid with this color code, and the border radius is going to take 5 pixels on all sides. Then for the email type specifically and the text area, I'm just going to copy this and then I'm going to paste here. So the type, email, and the text area. So I'm just going to copy this as well and then I'm going to paste it here. We're going to set the height to 100 pixels. Resize will be set to none. And then we have the button. So here we're going to have contact form, the contact form button, and the width will be 100%. Padding will take 10 pixels. Background color is going to take this color code. And then the text color will be white. Border will be set to none. Border radius on all sides will take 5 pixels. Cursor will be pointer. Okay, so if we view this on our browser, this is what we have. Okay, so we're missing the text here. We need to add bits and we need to add bedrooms and we need to add bits here. The image is clear, property description is given. Okay, our form, we have a slight issue with the form. Let's check. Okay, so this is supposed to be for text area right here. Let me cut this. Here we're supposed to have width to be 95%. And for the text area, for contact form text area, that is where we're supposed to have this code. Okay, so our form is looking all good. Okay, this looks a little bit too light compared to this, so we need to change the color code. Then we're adding text to this as well. So in the form, the P tag, we need a deeper color. Okay, back to the CSS here. Beds, we have the text here. Why is it not showing? Okay, so we're going to add beds here, and then right here we're going to add beds. Let's just add it as bedroom. Now let's see, we have it here. We need a space, so I'm just going to add a little space in here. Okay, this looks good. So we have the form to book inspection. This is the property details. So back to our home page. Okay, so back to our home page, we can view other properties. Okay, let's remove the text decoration here for the link. So in our index.css, we're just going to add for all links, text decoration will be none, and then the text color will be set to this color code. Let us see the effects. Okay, so if you click on any of this property, you're going to get the details. So let's say Ocean Breeze Villa, you're going to get the name, the price. Okay, I need to add $sign to this price, right? The location, number of beds, number of bedrooms, villa, the image, property description, and the form to book an inspection. So this is looking all good. Now the next thing we're going to work on here is the other pages. We need to work on the about page and the contact page. We need to ensure that once users click on about page, it leads them to the about page, and if they click on this contact here, it leads them to the contact page. So we're going to do this now. So let's get to that. So I'm going to close all of these, and then we're going to open our Navbar so that we can establish the link. First off, we need this H2 tag, the logo here. We need to link us with the home page. So here I'm going to use the nav link from React Router DOM. And then in between this nav link here, I'm going to cut this and paste it here. Okay, then we're going to add to this is going to lead us to the root folder, which is our home page. Then the next nav link, we're doing the same thing. Sorry, Ctrl Z. This is supposed to be Ctrl C. This is for the home page. I'm going to close this nav link. Then the other link will be for about. So here, nav link again. I'm going to cut this, paste it in between. And this is 2/about. Because in our app, the GSX, this part is leading us to the about page, right? So now for contact as well, nav link. I'm going to cut the contact list, and then I'm going to paste it right here. And this will go to /contacts. So back to our home page. If we click on this about, it's taking us to the about page. As you can see in the URL as well, it has changed. If we click on the contact, it's going to lead us to the contact page. If we click on home, we're back to the home page. Click on about, click on the logo, we're back to the home page. So let's design the about page and the contact page before we finish up with our mission page and the footer that we're adding to our home page. So I'm going to open the about page now. Let me close all of this, close the entire component. Then for our about.jsx right here, we're going to design the UI. First, I'm going to create a div tag with the class name of about, and then we're going to have two sides for the left and right, dot about left and dot about right. On the left side, we're going to have the image. But before that, I need to import the image. So here, I'm just going to have it as about image from our assets folder. Go to /assets/ we're using this image villa2.jpg. Okay, so here replace it with curly braces, and then we're going to have about image right here. Now for the right section, we're going to have an h1 tag, and it's just going to have about us. Then we're going to have 4 p tags, and we're just going to add a dummy text right here. So I'm going to copy the text in here, and paste it 4 times. Okay, paste it here and paste it here one more time. Okay, so this is for the about page. Let me click on about, and you can see the image is showing and the text is also here. Next thing we're going to do is to style it. So right here, open your about.css, but before styling, you need to import your CSS file into your GSX file. So import ./about.css. We'll start with the about container itself, paste it here. Then margin top, we're going to set it to 2.5 rem. Display would be flex. Gap will be 4 rem. And then our padding inline is going to take 100 pixels. 100 pixels. Then the left and the right is going to take for left, comma, and also for right. Max width will be 50%. Now for the left image, we're going to set the width to 500 pixels. Then the height as well will take 500 pixels. Now for the border top right radius, we're going to take 100 pixels. And the border bottom left radius will take 100 pixels as well. And cut this and paste it here. For about right, we're going to set the margin to 50 pixels. And we have an h1 tag, h1. The font size will be 40 pixels. The font width will be set to bold, and the margin bottom will be set to 15 pixels. So this is for the about section right here. So this is what we have. Now we need the contact section. Okay, I'm going to close this. For our contact section as well. So the contacts is almost like the about. So I'm just going to copy this. Then we're going to change the text. So I'm going to paste this. Okay, so everything here that has about, I'm going to select it, and it's going to be contacts. And here it's going to be contact as well. Okay, then I'm going to import ./contact.css. Right, this is looking all good. Now for our contact.css, we're using the same styling. So I'm going to copy it and paste it here. So I'm going to select this about, Ctrl D, select everything, and replace it with contacts. And for the contact image, we're using a different image. Import contact image from assets. So slash smart, that is the name of the image, smart3.jpg. Okay, and then we're just going to edit something little. So let me just delete this p text here. So I'm going to create 3p tags. The first one is going to take telephone. So we're going to have a bracket here. 1, 2, 3. It's just a dummy telephone number. Let's say 456-789. Okay, and then we're going to have like an address, email at, let's say, preva@gmail.com. And then for the address, we're going to have 123 business address, suits, let's say 100, and then the states, the country. So this is what we're going to have in the contact section. So this is what we have now on our screen. So the contact page is working. It's just very basic. The about page is also working. The home page as well. We're seeing all of our images display in real time. We can filter properties from the location to property type to price range. You know, let's say we want to select a house in USA that is a villa within this price range. If I click on search, we're going to get all the properties that matches. This is a villa, this is a villa, this is a villa, and it's located in USA. And the price ranges between 200,001 to 300,000. As you can see, this is the price range as well. So if I click on this, you can see the property details. You can see the larger picture of the image, and then the property description and a form to book an inspection as well. So the filter method is working. So now the next thing we're going to build right here is this mission here. It's similar to the about page, right? And then the footer. So let's go to that. So I'm going to close this contact here, then close the pages. Back to our components, this mission section here, that is what we want to work on. So I'll create a div tag, and I'm going to give it a class name of mission, and then we're going to have left and right section, mission left. So this is for mission left dot mission left. And then we're going to have dot mission right. So for the left, we need an image, and for the right, we need an h1 tag that will take this text, then a p tag that will take this dummy text right here. Next is a button to book an inspection. Okay, and for the image, we're going to be using the mission image from the asset folder / villa2.jpg. I'm just going to copy this here. I'll come in here and paste it. So this is for the mission section, and we're also going to style it. But before styling, we need to mount it in our own page. So we'll head back to home page, and right here we're going to have mission components. We're going to mount it here. Okay. Next step is to style. We're going to import dot forward slash mission dot css. Open our mission dot css. We'll start with the mission itself. So in the mission container, we'll set it to generate display here will be flex, padding in line will be 100 pixels with a gap of 35 pixels, and also a margin top of 30 pixels. Then we have the left and the right. So I'm just going to copy this for left, and for right, this is going to be for right. I'm going to set the max width to 50%. Then for the right, I'm going to set the margin top to 80 pixels. We have an H1 tag in the right. The font size is going to be 60 pixels. We have a P tag. The margin top of this will take 10 pixels, and the font size will be 18 pixels. Now we have the right button. Border will be set to none. Background color, we'll take this color code. The font weight of the text will be bold. Margin top will take 20 pixels. Okay, this is supposed to be margin top. 20 pixels padding, 1 rem for the height and 3 rem for the width. Border radius will take 10 pixels, and the text color would be white. And then we have the image for the left. So for mission left image, I'm going to set the width to 550 pixels. The height will take 580 pixels. Border radius will be 5 pixels, while the border top right radius will take 100 pixels, and the border bottom left radius will take 100 pixels as well. So if we head back here, this is what we're going to get. Right now we still have the properties that the location is USA, property type is villa, and is of this price range, right? So this is still what we have right here, and then we need to design the footer section just like it is here. So let's get to the footer. So I'm going to close this. Then we're going to open our footer. So for the footer, I'll create a div tag, give it a class name of footer. We need 3 sections, but first footer content. In our footer content, we have the left content, we have the center content, and then we're going to have the right content as well. At the left content, I'm going to have an H2 tag with a company name. Then we're going to have a P tag with a very simple dummy text. Then we're going to have the social icons. So here, social icons. We're going to have 3 images. but we're yet to get all of the images. So this is the images that we're going to be using: Twitter icon, LinkedIn icon, and the Facebook icon. So here we're going to import Facebook from asset folder slash Facebook icon dot png. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Then I'm just going to change the names. Control D, select Control D. This is going to be LinkedIn. I'll do the same thing here. Select this. Press Control D once, and this is going to be for Twitter. Okay. So I'm going to separate all of these image tags. So here we'll select it straight down. Control Alt. This is going to be replaced by curly braces. The first one is going to take Facebook. The second one is going to take Twitter. And the last one is going to take LinkedIn. And then for the center content, we're going to have an H2 tag. So here it's going to take this simple text. Then we're going to have a list with 4 list items. First one is going to take home. Second will take about us. Third is going to take services. And the last is going to take privacy policy. And the right contents, another H2 tag. And this is going to get this text, get in touch. Then we're going to have another unordered list with 3 list items. With the first one is going to take this text, the second is going to take this text, while the third is also going to take this text. Okay, so this is our footer section here. I'm going to go head back to the home page and mount the footer right here, and it has been imported here. Okay, back to what we're trying to build. Let's see our home page. Now we have this footer here. All we need to do is to style it. So I'm going to open my footer.css, but before styling, as usual, you need to import /footer.css. So we'll start with the footer container itself. Paste it here. Background color, will take this color code. And then the text color will be black. The display here will be flex. Flex direction will be column. And we want to align the items at the center. And we're going to add a gap of 20 pixels. Okay, so after the footer contents, let's trace it. After this footer content here, we need an HR tag. And then after the HR tag, we need a copyright tag. So here, I'm just going to give it footer.copy. And it's going to take this text. Okay, so back to styling. Gap is 20 pixels. So the padding will take 20 pixels 8VW. And then we're going to add a margin top of 30 pixels. Now for the footer content, width will take 100%. Display will be grid. And then grid template column 1FR, 1FR with a gap of 80 pixels. Okay. Now the left content has an H2 tag. So here we're just going to style the left, the center, and the right contents all together. So here the left, so I didn't copy this. Copy the left content, comma, dots, S select the center content, comma, then the right content. So we're going to set display here. It's going to be flex direction will be column, align items will be stats, and a gap of 20 pixels. Okay. So the lex content has an H2 tag. So for lex content, we're going to set the font size to 30 pixels and the font width to 600 and the margin bottom as well to 10 pixels. Okay. Now the center content and the right content has a list. So we're just going to do that. So for center content and for right content, the list item here, the list item here as well. We're going to set the list style to none. Margin bottom will be 10 pixels and the cursor will be set to pointer. Then we have the image here for the social icons. The width will be 40 pixels. Okay, I didn't add the image tag. The width will be 40 pixels. Margin right will be 15 pixels. Margin top will take 20 pixels. Then we have the HR tag right here. So for footer HR, footer, the width will take 100%. The height will be 2 pixels. Border will be none. And then the background color will be gray, while the margin will take 20 pixels 0. So this is what we get for the footer, and our website is looking all good and clean. You can access any of the pages. This is working. You can filter properties based on location, based on property type, based on prices. Click on filter. You're going to get all the properties that matches with the price range and all of that. So this is it. This is looking all good. Thank you guys for watching. Do not forget to like, comment, and share. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.